Alright, hello. Today I'm going to show you one of the many ways you can put together the Onebot. And this is going to be sort of the standard configuration, my personal favorite. Keep in mind that the Onebot can be assembled any one of a number of ways. There's many holes that allow you to align the wheels anywhere toward the rear, toward the front, toward the center, as well as, for example, the motherboard. It could be mounted here or here or here, anywhere along the length, or across the front like this. And of course you can put an Arduino board on here and it fits on these holes here. There's a number of things you can do, but this way I'm going to show you is the simplest way, and perhaps the way that I build most of the robots when I assemble them. So to start with, you should orient yourself with the pieces. The chassis, of course, this is going to be the top. The bottom has no labeling. These pieces are not symmetrical, and it's worth some note. The reason is that some of the servos, although they're all standard hobby servos, they don't all have the same hole spacing. So by making it in such a way that the mounting holes are center, but the servo mount holes are off center, you can reverse them so that way you can accommodate any one of a number of different servo sizes. The standard way that the spring RC servos go is with both of them facing inward, okay, like this. And the way that I actually like to assemble it initially is I like to have the motherboard basically pretty far forward. So I'm going to start it off in the second, so to speak, hole from the Made in the USA. Okay, this is where the motherboard's going to be, and I'm going to choose to mount the servos in the third. So let me go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to flip it over, and again I'm going to have these holes toward the back, okay, toward the rear, and I'm going to loosely attach it with some 1/4 inch 440s like this. Okay, again, loosely do it. There's a little alignment you're going to want to do to make sure that everything lines up square. There's just enough play in this that you can align it if necessary so that your robot goes truer when you get it assembled. Notice the spacing on this is designed to match the motherboard perfectly, so if you don't have a doubt which holes to go into, then you can lay the motherboard down and you can see that in fact it goes in this hole here. So if I put it, I'll lay that down again, see that? It's going to be this hole right here. Okay, again, now I have these holes facing forward. Alright, and I'll show you that from a side view in just a second. And I'm going to loosely attach this with these 1/4 inch 440s, like so. Okay, and looking at it from the side, you can see that the holes are all toward the center. Okay, now these servos, again, you can put these, you can imagine I can put these servo mounts anywhere along this length. Okay, and I can mount the servos either with the shaft closer to the front of the robot or the shaft closer to the rear of the robot. So I can mount, for example, large 100mm wheels right in the middle here, or I can have it in the back depending on where my load is. I'm going to have it biased toward the front, so I'm going to take 4 of these and I'm going to loosely attach those servos using a Phillips screwdriver, like so. In fact, I'm going to pause this, so there's no reason to watch me screw in all these screws, and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so currently I have all the screws loosely in. You can see I can kind of wiggle things left and right, forward and back. I want to make sure that my servos are square to each other. Okay, so I'm going to hold it right here, so that way these all line up. And I'm going to give these a fairly firm tightening. I'm not getting over the top here. I just want to kind of get them anchored in, and then I'll do my final alignment and then tighten it all down from there. Spin this around, and again I'm kind of holding this so they're lined up. so everything stays true. Okay. Like this. And you still should have a little bit of play here. So I'm going to, looks like it should be slightly over on this side. You probably can't quite see that with this camera, but I've given it a little push. I'm tightening these guys down. And what I'll do is I'll slide the wheels on now, just to kind of give it a good look, and then I'll tighten it up. Alright, so now that I have this here, I can see that I'm pretty happy with the alignment here. I'm pretty happy with the alignment everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give these not an over-the-top tightening, just a firmness so that they don't come out. Like so. And I'll go back and tighten these up. Okay. And now we can attach the wheels. These go on with the 1-inch long 440s. And I'll slide one of these in. And once again, I'll just pause this because all I'm going to do is tighten this up. Okay, so now I've completely tightened these wheels in place. Everything looks pretty true. Again, it's kind of nice. If it's not quite true, you can certainly loosen these and shift it just ever so slightly. But now what we're going to do is work on the tail wheel. So that takes this 2-inch threaded rod, and it slides in like so. And we'll do some alignment here. And then the tail ball screws on like so. And to lock it in place, you use this square nut, like so, and we give it a good tightening. Now, oftentimes I'll use a pair of pliers or something to really get that locked in. What I want to do is I want to bring this up to the point where it's level. You can use this. This is really handy when you get your sensors or something on your robot for line following. It gives you that final adjustment, so you can raise or lower the front end, for example, by raising and lowering the rear wheel or rear ball, and that will then allow you to get your front sensors just off the ground so they have the clearance that they need. Right now I want to get it pretty level, like that. And I'm going to use just a pair of pliers to kind of give that a tightening. Lock it in place, like so. Okay, now we're getting close here. I have lots of options here. The motherboard can go like this. I like that configuration a lot. But I think this time I'm going to put it right here. You can put it basically anywhere you want, but I like it here. And for that, I'm going to use these 1/2-inch spacers and these 3/4-inch screws. And put the screw on, slide the spacer on, and using my wrench, go ahead and get that in there. It's also handy at this time, maybe, and then I'll pause it again while I screw these in, to get some of these wires already underneath the motherboard. At least I like to try to do it at this time. It makes it a little easier down the road. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and put in the rest of the screws. Okay, so I've completely screwed this in and tightened them down fairly firmly. And again, you don't want to over tighten any of this stuff. And you can see I've got a spacer, 1/2-inch spacer, and a 3/4-inch screw going all the way through. We are now ready to mount, for example, this front sensor bracket on, depending on which sensor you're going to use. And for that, I need to find the screw that I set down. And give me one moment, I'll get a new one. Okay, so this has got a radius that's cut in it, as you can see, so it fits anywhere along the edge here. More than likely with a basic unit. You'll be putting it right in the front, and you can use a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch screw to do that, and tighten that down like so. Okay, and then these wires, I like to kind of get them a little out of the way. I usually wrap them around something like a Sharpie, so that way they'll have a little springiness to them, and we'll plug them in. You can do anything you want. I tend to use the left one first, so I'm going to put the left one, the white wire, closest to the TNC, goes inward. Black wire on the ground goes outward. I've put that way up here in the very first pin. And then the right servo, I'm going to put on the second pin with the same configuration. The white wire, the signal closest to the chip, the black wire, okay, closest to this female socket over here. Last but not least, batteries. There's a number of places you can put them with the wheels all the way forward. It's actually kind of cool. You can have them down below, okay, or for convenience you can have them up on top. And because I don't know where you're going to put that motherboard, I give you lots of options here, and I just give you Velcro because it gives you the most flexibility. That will go something like that. This will go here, and you are ready to outfit the robot with all your sensors and get programming. So I'll see you again soon.